Today, I am going to tell you the tale of a place called Low Hollow. There's a place not marked on any map. You won't stumble into it by accident, and if you do, you'll wish that you hadn't. The locals call it Low Hollow. Not a village, just a stretch of forest. Quiet, damp, sunless even on the brightest days. Trees not too tall, bark too dark. The kind of place where moss grows thick and birds don't sing. Nobody lives near it, and nobody walks through it. But four travelers, young, foolish, and bored, decided that they would. Their names are not written down anywhere, but I remember them. There was Rowan, with quiet eyes, Isla, who hid behind a small blade in her boot, Tamsin, who listened more than she spoke, and Garrick, who scoffed at superstition and loved the sound of his own voice. The four of them had been walking the old merchant road, nothing but mud and rut, and Low Hollow cut straight across it. The locals had warned them to go around, to take the extra day, but Garrick laughed. "We've wasted time on worse things," he said. "It's just some trees." And so, they crossed in. At first, the air was heavy, damp, but still lifeless. The sound of their boots on the wet earth was the only noise. Even the wind didn't seem to move. The trees leaned in oddly, branches tangled above like a woven roof, and everything smelled of wet bark and still water. Tamsin was the first to notice something was off. "There's no birds," she whispered. Rowan nodded. He'd noticed that too, but he hadn't wanted to say it first. Still, they kept walking. Isla marked a tree with her knife every dozen steps, careful to leave signs in case they had to turn back. But the marks didn't stay. When they passed the same tree again, they noticed that her notch was gone. They didn't say anything. They came to an old stone wall, broken, moss-covered, like the remains of a cottage long collapsed. Within the low ring, the trees grew thinner, and at the center stood a well, choked with vines. Its stones were damp and greened with age. Garrick peered into the well. "It's dry," he said. Rowan knelt beside it. He thought that he heard something. A sound like breathing, coming from deep below. Faint, but steady. He stepped back. "Let's keep moving," said Isla, urgently. Her voice didn't rise above a whisper, though. They followed a narrow deer path, or maybe it wasn't for deer. The prints in the mud were odd, too long, not quite hoofs, not quite feet. They stopped looking closely. Time slipped strangely in Low Hollow. The light barely changed, yet hours seemed to pass. They spoke little, and the deeper they went, the more the forest pressed in around them. Damson whispered once, "It feels like it's listening." And it very well might have been. That night, if it was truly night, they camped near a fallen tree. They dared not light a fire, not because they were afraid. At least that's what Garrett claimed. But none of them wanted to see what light might reveal. They took turns keeping watch, with Rowan staying up last. Just before Isla handed him her knife and laid down, she said softly, "If you hear your name, don't answer." He didn't ask why. Hours passed, or minutes. Rowan still sat, listening. The forest had a rhythm, windless but not silent. There was the creak of branches, the distant drop of water, and once, footsteps, slow, just beyond the edge of the trees. Rowan didn't move. Then came a voice. It was soft, familiar. "Rowan." He didn't answer. "Rowan, come help me." It sounded like his sister, his little sister, who had died 2 winters before, and he hadn't heard that voice since. He closed his eyes. He bit his tongue and said nothing. The footsteps stopped, and the forest went still again. The next morning, if it was morning, they found Isla's knife stuck in a tree, not where she had left it. And next to it, they found another carving. A carving that none of them recognized. Sharp and simple, not new. Damson touched it once, then pulled her hand back fast. "It's warm," she whispered. They turned back. This time, the forest didn't argue. The way out was clearer, though none of them remembered the path. The trees grew thinner, the air lightened, and when they stepped back onto the road, the wind finally returned. Birds chirped. The sun touched their faces. Garrett laughed too loudly. "I told you it was nothing." But he didn't look back. They walked in silence. No one asked what they had seen. No one mentioned the footsteps or the voice. But years later, Rowan still dreamed of the well. Damson moved far away and refused to speak of the forest at all. And Isla, well, she never went near the woods ever again. As for Garrick, who never believed, he was the one they found one morning, standing at the forest edge, just standing, still, staring out into the trees. He said nothing when they called his name. He never said anything again. You don't have to believe this story. But if you ever walk into the woods joining me at this campfire today. Please let me know if you enjoyed and what you would like to see from me in